once more onto the bridge. What should I talk about? What should we talk about?
Well, in our last staff meeting, we talked about having some educational facilities here.
We want
In our last staff meeting, we talked about having educational facilities here for young children.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
And many people felt that that was a threat to the character of Brockwood. So perhaps we could talk about the character of Brockwood, because we also have to deal with inviting new staff here, and in a sense that also involves the character of Brockwood, or the common ground, or some other term.
I think we discussed this matter in Sarnan with Mrs. Simmons and I and Harsha. And I think Mrs. Simbolis was there. Can you hear me? Louder.
It sounds booming. It sounds terrible in here.
It's like being dead.
Can you hear me?
When there's fewer people and loudspeakers.
Oh, Lord.
If we pull the curtains, would it help?
Perhaps, can't we get nearer in such a big circle? Is that better? Is that better? Can you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
We discussed in Sarnan whether we should have a school for little children, because Harsha and his wife have got a child. Huh?
It was really that Harsha and Claire wanted to talk to you about the difficulties of teaching in Brockwood and also having a child.
Yes.
And that it was really somewhat all of our responsibility to share how this difficulty was solved. It wasn't really the idea of starting a school for little children.
Do we want a children's school here?
No.
Huh? In Brockwood? You say no. Then what happens to Harsha and his child?
That's a school. It's not a school.
Don't call it a school. Let's call it whatever you a place where.
Start children.
Huh?
A kindergarten for start children.
Yes, kindergarten. All right.
So we talked this over in the staff meeting. We talked it over among ourselves in the staff meeting. And the difficulty is that the place as it is, Brockwood, it can only hold so many people. And we have the maximum number of students. And,
All right, you cannot have them in Brockwood.
yes, that's
That's
clear.
simple. Then, before we discuss where they should be, do we want it? A kindergarten, whatever you call it.
I think that's probably why Scott raised the question in the form that he did, because the objection seemed to come up that you'd be willing as long as it wouldn't change the character of Brockwood. This is probably why the
I can't
question
hear.
remains. What
Oh,
is-
really?
Matthew is saying that we seem to say that we wouldn't mind having that as long as it didn't change the character of Brockwood. But many people felt that the character of Brockwood would be changed. And that's why perhaps we could talk about the character of Brockwood and whether what impact this would have on it.
There are two issues on it. Do you want a kindergarten? Not in this building, but some nearby.
Well, some people say no, because it would change the character of
Would
Brockwood.
it? What is the character of Brockwood?
See, Krishnaji, I feel that before we even go into this point, two things have become confused. One is the question of Harsh's child and Claire, those three, and what to do with their child. And the other is whether we want to have a kindergarten here, which obviously means a junior school later. The two things have got mixed together. I think that if we could solve the problem of Anand and his education, if we're all concerned with it, we can create something for him, then we can look at the deeper question, or the other question, not the deeper question, the other question, which is whether we want to have a kindergarten, a junior school here at Brockwood. I think they're actually two separate matters.
There's also the question of whether staff have time and energy to raise a family.
Shouldn't it be a project, let's say, of Hash and Claire? With the help of Brockwood, they could put a building if they want, a mobile building for the school, for the little school or something. But let them, as a project, start just, if there are other children that come, I mean, all right, but not involve that staff have children here, in general. It's happened like this. But,
I happen to have two children here. I'm one of the teachers. And I don't want to leave Brockwood. And I want these children to be educated in this kind of atmosphere. What shall I do? Leave Brockwood? And so either go to India or somewhere else? What shall I do? Please discuss that question. Not where and how and whether. Do you want me and my children to leave Brockwood?
I'd say definitely not.
no.
No, don't be too quick about it. Let's find out. Do you want me to stay here? Do you want to lose me, if I can put it that way?
Listen, I don't lose it. I want to know how you came to be here with two children.
I happened, you invited me.
No, we never met.
All right, I was married. Wait, I was married and twins. Before Miss Pratt, just let me simple. Before you knew when you invited me to come to Brockwood and teach here, I was married. And you knew I might have children. And I now have twins. What are going to do? 2 years, 3 years.
I think generally when staff come here, it's made quite clear to them. I think generally when most of us have come here, it has been made quite clear to us that there really isn't a place for children here.
Then,
That's the nature of the place. But now we have a child here,
you face it.
so we are facing it.
Now, what do you want me? Do you want me to leave you?
No, but
Or
at the
would you
same
want
time,
me, wait, do you want me to stay here? And what will I do with my children?
I don't think anybody would say we want a person to leave here. At the same time, probably what some other people are thinking is that, yes, we'd like people to be here, but at what cost would it be? What would it involve in school?
Let's start, sir. I have 2 children here. You want me to stay here, right?
But not, what we're saying, but not at any cost.
What?
He says, not at any cost. We don't want you to stay here at any cost.
And we want to know what sort of a teacher you are.
I'm a good teacher. You like me, right? You don't want to lose me. That's the major thing, isn't it?
I mean, that's the basis one of this fantasy. We're dealing with a situation where we have 2 teachers whom we value immensely. We want to keep them. They have a little boy. That's the
problem. That is the problem. That's what I'm saying. How will you deal with this problem?
sir, we've all agreed. I don't see any difficulty. We've all agreed that we've got to help out.
So,
And I
how
think-
will you help out?
Well, we've got to work something out, but it takes some time to
No,
find out what.
Let's do it now.
See, there's 2 things there's 2 objections which are being raised, Krishnaji. One is that the nature of this place does not include little children. And 2, that if you have little children, you can't give enough energy and
You may
attention
not,
to
but
Brockwood.
we can hire somebody.
No, I don't think this is the
No, and you've got to be able to hire somebody of the quality who's going to educate those little children.
Yes, of course.
But it's not possible, you can't get people like that.
Well, how did we get all of us here?
Well,
If we want that, we'll get it.
we've come here on our own accord, but then you've got to look around.
We'll get it. Once you want to have such a person, you will find them.
You say that, but where's our biology teacher we wanted for years? We haven't been able to find it yet.
All right, then what should we do?
I don't know, Christian, it's not so
No, I don't think that.
In a family situation, I personally feel that, and it might be interpreted as chauvinistic, but the mother needs to spend time with the child, needs to spend plenty of time with the child.
We know all that, sir. What do? We know all the why the mother should and so on. What should we do?
Sir, could I ask, we're saying, can we do something so that this family doesn't have to leave, right?
That's one question.
Yes, and so can we work out something? And the other question is, do we want the school to adjust to such an extent that because there's a child, we make a nursery. Because the child grows, we make a junior school. Or can we consider, do we want a nursery and a junior school? Consider, maybe we do. And then this question is separate. Can we do something about this so they don't have to leave? If they have a child.
Look, one boy by himself is bad for him, isn't it? You must have other boys.
Yes,
So you have to include other boys.
yes.
So explore it, so don't let it be.
I'm saying, can we work out something so that the boy has companions? And
Yes.
that the family doesn't have to leave to dissociate with Brockwood. Can we work something out?
I think one can.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, I think we can.
Huh?
I think we can.
Which means what?
Does that involve other families also?
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
most of the staff.
Yes, but it doesn't involve other families at Brockwood.
No, it could be a separate.
It can be a separate unit. It doesn't have to be, that the other families who are involved have to come and work here necessarily, because then we are going to have the same problem repeated Who's going to look after the children while they're
Another
working?
sectoral problem here. I do think there's two staff members who are not involved in sex, one way or another.
What would you say if we had children?
I don't quite understand all your
I
argument.
mean, if you're saying that there's going to be a nursery because there's a child and there may be another staff member who may have 2 children.
And
what
also,
about if people had children here, wouldn't that change something about the place? I mean, 2 years ago we talked about it and we said, we raised the question, what would happen if people here had children? And we said, I think we said we don't want it.
No, we said
No.
we take responsibility for 2 children.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
already
Yes.
born.
Yes, but we were saying we didn't want it for others.
And we turned down people who were qualified for jobs because they had children and we said, look, we can't accommodate it.
See, Krishnaji, what we had been saying by saying, I'm sorry if you have a child, you can't come to Brockwood, and by saying other things, what we had been saying that Brockwood cannot have little children here. That the nature of the experiment or the nature of the life that we are trying to live here cannot include little children.
For their sakes.
For our sakes.
And their sakes, for both sakes.
And that's, that should be examined, I feel.
Do we want to make the school bigger, for instance? Because having a nursery and then a junior school means much bigger. I think at one point there was talk about keeping the school small.
Why does it mean bigger? If we had another place, it'd be like another,
Yes.
it wouldn't be Brockwood. I mean, it wouldn't be this
Mary,
big.
wouldn't those
But
people
how
want
do
to
you-
come and join the staff meeting?
Just on that, we can have it a day school where you have possibly 1 teacher and keep it small.
Yes.
How does that change Brockwood?
I mean, we can discuss and say, do we want to start to have facilities around in England or in Hampshire, I don't know, and nursery and junior school, but it seems it would have to be separate from Brockwood in the sense it can't be here.
But for instance, there is Richard Cook that used to be here with Annette.
Beg pardon?
Richard Cook that used to be here at the school. He has a child probably about the same age, If they could sort of maybe get together, if they want to begin a little school, and then they have 2 children, maybe some other.
Before, do we want a kindergarten school?
I'd say as a
please
project.
just,
Sorry.
not at Brockwood itself, because
We don't have the room.
for obvious reasons. Do you want a kindergarten school, we'll call it kindergarten for the moment, nearby, where Harsha's son can go, and other children who are interested in Brockwood perhaps could go there too? That's the question you must decide.
What was that last about the parents?
Other parents who might be interested in Brockwood, who cannot come here, who would like to have their children brought up by us.
Yes, that's.
Are you meaning a boarding school?
Oh,
Are you talking about boarding school?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just putting it forward.
I think, Mary, the thing is that if it's to be a day school, then the parents have got to live really close.
Yes.
If it's to be a boarding school in which the children go home at weekends, which I think is a feasible proposition.
Not for 4-year-olds.
This for little children at that age, I don't know.
Want their mother and father.
Should be a boarding students. And secondly, that really gets us involved in running everything, food, laundry, etc.
Well, then there are quite considerable difficulties in finding accommodation for the parents.
That's their problem.
Mrs. D, what do you say?
Well, the problem is, Shiji, if you have it outside the school, say if we could find a building to start where Harsh and Claire would live and have Armand there, then you have to get other children, say 6 other children that would want to come there. The difficulty is, how do you house the parents? We've got one already who would like to come, but they can't find a house. So, and they can't leave their jobs. It is extremely difficult.
Would Harsh and Clary want to run such a thing? Would they want to run the school? Withdraw their energies from here and run that? Would they want to do that?
Well, they need help. I mean, you
But they
Claire
want to
has
do it
said
at all.
that she would be interested in being, obviously, deeply involved in it.
Well,
She
if
has
you're
said that.
deeply involved there, deeply involved.
Well, she may be able to, with help. I think that she could give as much time in the art room as she has been doing, with help. I think that is possible.
Actually, it will allow us to give more time, because at the moment we have to do all that for Anand anyway. And just between two of us.
Give more time, you give less time with your child.
As long as he's with someone who cares, that's not too bad.
Well, Doris, when your children start going to school, you get less time with them anyway. What we're really considering is the right kind of schooling for Anand, that he spends less time with his parents is a natural occurrence when his schooling starts.
But aren't you really talking about two things? Because if you start a kindergarten for 3-year-olds, you're really also committing yourselves, I think, to a junior school.
Well, it can be the same size junior school. I mean, if you go to any school, your range of friends is at a large comprehensive school 20. We don't think that's a very good idea. So your range would be about 6 or 10 at most. I don't call that a school. I call that an organic growing up of somebody with brothers and sisters and friends.
Yes, except that once you commit yourself to a junior school, you are then tied by all sorts of educational regulations as to what you provide in terms of accommodation, games, equipment, and so on. You still have to provide, you still are tied by regulations for those
Same as we are
things.
here.
Yes, but then here we've got it all.
Yes, but we hadn't.
No.
And provided.
But I mean, I don't think you're really talking about a kindergarten only.
No, we're not.
Oh,
But
yes.
it's a kindergarten at this moment, which would not get into a school for 50 at any time that we can foresee at this moment anyway. And I see it as the child grows older, his companions grow up with him, and the teachers adjust what they're saying and teaching, and parents, and then eventually they arrive here in the normal course of events.
But the parents would have to find their own, like they do in Ojai. I mean,
They have to
Ojai,
find their own accommodation.
But at Ojai, they kept renewing the same age, so that finally there were most children remain very small, and there's a minority, maybe 2 or 3 that are older, and so it makes a very difficult situation. Because they didn't grow with the children that were there for some reason.
Because those age children didn't turn up, possibly.
Maybe, or the parents separated, or things happened.
It runs up to the age of high school and buildings for high school students. It takes them up to 14.
Mrs. D, what is the principle on which you run this thing?
I haven't got a principle.
Principle, you understand what I mean by principle. What is the intention? What is the... on what basis do you want this kindergarten? Is it because... Just a minute.
This is a need at this moment.
Is it because Harsha and his wife have got a child and that makes us gives us a problem? Because you want to keep them?
Yes.
And therefore that becomes a problem.
Yes, I don't look on it really.
And it doesn't matter, that is our concern.
Our concern.
All right. What shall we do?
Well, I think we're saying that I think most of us are saying we are concerned and we see the difficulties. How do we solve it?
What shall we do?
In the
We are
trying to solve it, we found that quite a number of us felt that it shouldn't be within, say, at the staff cottages, because that would change the nature of this place. That was what was said.
Are you saying we are concerned, but not at Brockwood, the buildings in itself?
Yes.
Then what's the next step?
The next step is that we try to find an appropriate place that we think would
All
solve
right.
the problem.
Next
for
appropriate
Harsha.
place nearby.
Yes.
Then who will, you can't have one boy. So what will you do?
So what we've been trying to do,
What?
we've interviewed and seen several people as a possibility for looking after or initiating the school along with Claire.
I don't know if I can't hear properly here.
The incoming staff, obviously it's not going to be solved unless we have an extra member or two of staff. Because there will have to be somebody teaching and looking after the children. The one or two or three children we may well have.
Now, so we want that, do we?
I think it's necessary.
No, so it is necessary.
Yeah.
Then we'll have to have somebody to look after those 3, 4, 5, 6 children.
That's right.
Do we set it into motion? That's all I'm asking. The whole business.
I think it has been set.
No, do we? No.
And
Do
we're
we?
saying, how can it best be done, Christian?
First, let's find out if we want that thing to set in motion. Right? Do we? Do all of you?
See, it's very problematical because there's only one child we go on who's got a background with this at all. We don't have any other children with this kind of background or this kind of parents who...
But the moment they hear, people hear that you are starting a kindergarten school,
We can get in children galore.
galore.
But then there's the
Wait,
parents.
you can then choose and go through all that. But do we set it in motion? That's what I'm asking. Do we say, let's do it?
Well, is there anybody with the enthusiasm to do it? Because to do that, we need real dedication.
You're not answering my question, if you don't mind. Do we set it in action?
We haven't the energy.
You mean you haven't got the energy?
I don't think anybody has the energy.
Then what should we do?
I don't know.
Well, Harsh and Claire might have the energy. I mean, they are actually interested.
So don't. What?
I mean, I wrote
No, I think the reason our faces may look like this is because, in fact, the present situation is difficult for us, and I'm certainly willing to do whatever is necessary. But I think there's another kind of decision which may not involve anyone actually helping, directly helping out or teaching or building, but maybe a decision to say, yes, let's do this, even though...
That's what I'm asking,
Yes.
sir. Do we all say, let's do it? And then we'll find out the methods, how to do it, and so on and so on. Do we all agree to this?
Yeah, it depends how it's done, I think.
No, first you must agree whether you want
Yes,
to do
well,
it.
I'd agree if it's done a little separate from the place, but with the attention of the...
That's the second step.
Huh?
That's the second step.
Well, no, there is an agreement that has to come. Otherwise, it will influence all the staff, otherwise, into doing the same thing. So it has to be carefully.
You see, Krishnaji, I think that I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, but I have the feeling that many people want to keep Harsh and Claire here, and so they say, yes, we must do this. But it's like you have to empty the garbage once a week, or you have to do something unpleasant that you don't really want to do, but you see that you have to do it, so reluctantly you agree.
That's not my
yes.
point at all.
No, that's not your point.
No.
But a lot of people, in response to your questions, don't you see that it's necessary to do it, will say, yes, we see it's necessary, without embracing the project as something that's...
I wouldn't approach it from that point of view at all.
Well, then the question of, well, how far away can we keep it doesn't
sir.
arise.
Scott, I'm asking first, do we, all of us, agree to such a thing, which means we set it in motion? moving, finding, teachers, all the rest of it. Are we together on this?
I don't know. I think we're together on wanting to help Harsh and Claire and Anand, but that may involve that they leave the school. I don't think we all agree that it may involve setting up some kind of nursery school. I mean, that seems to be a
Of course, it involves getting a hold of a
it may
building.
involve that Harsh and Claire and Anand leave Brockwood altogether, as I see it.
Huh? I don't
She
understand.
says it might mean that we have to leave Brockwood. Claire and I have to leave Brockwood.
Is that it?
It might. The
No,
best thing
but
for Harsh and
no,
Claire
there are-
and for us.
It was understood from the beginning that you don't want them to leave.
Well, I don't know whether you can say
That's
that
what
absolutely.
please, that's what I understood.
Krishnaji, you just asked that.
What?
You are really just asking that, and Christina's...
I'm just asking that. She was all so vague in this matter.
I think, Krishnaji, we are not...
And the last time we spoke about this with Joe's child, you were very strong. Do we want to hold up domesticity, you said?
What? What?
Do we want to hold up domesticity as an ideal for our children who are here?
But-
that they've all got, the students who are here can go on the natural trend of begetting, procreating.
At present, Miss Pratt, there is only one child here.
But then you said if you have the children in the school,
Just a minute, let's begin. Miss Pratt, would you kindly listen what I want to say? Which is, we have got one child here, and you don't want to lose the parents. That a parent is definite. And the problem, the concern then, what do we do with that one child? It is wrong for that one child to be educated by himself. It's absurd.
Yes, it's hard.
So you must, so what, next? Move to the next step.
I think it's been raised right now that it's not
What?
it's not definite that that the solution is to keep the parents here.
What?
He says it doesn't look definite to keep the parents here.
Harsh is saying that it's not apparent that everybody wants to keep the parents here.
Then for God's sake, let's get on with it. Let's decide.
I think the general feeling is we do want to keep the parents here. I mean, we've got over
And
that
don't keep on changing back and forth every minute.
No, but Krishnaji, there's only one child for the moment, of course.
But that's not the
I say we may find another child, but the child alone, we agree, isn't happy, isn't well.
I see this, I can understand
You
this kind of
can't-
meeting lasting 3 hours.
No, but
Now I understand
but
what
it's
you're all doing.
difficult to leave from something, the one child is a reality, it's here, but the other children, maybe they'll come, but we haven't got them.
You see,
So-
Krishnaji, it was suggested at one point, I was told that in Winchester there is a play school for young children. And one thing was suggested was that Anand could be daily taken by his parents to that school.
In a local school?
Apparently a good school, not a
Wait
big-
a second,
Winchester.
I wonder if it's really good school, where they don't learn all kinds of horrible things.
I heard you said it was a good school.
It's the best of a bad bunch.
The lady is interested in Brockwood, isn't she?
Yeah, but even so.
really good bunch.
I go. You see how we go?
No,
we
then
don't.
we're putting
Please,
the child.
Miss McCann, just let's get to the point. First point: do we want a kindergarten school here or not?
So I think most people are saying that they're willing to help, but they're saying that personally we are
You're too occupied.
we are occupied here.
Please come
So-
to the point.
So that's what everybody's saying. We can't do this.
All right, that's understood.
But if they have the energy
Not-
and interest, and if we can get people who are interested, I don't think anybody is going to object.
Yes, it should be a project of the teacher, no?
So Krishnaji, can I ask you a question?
Not me. Ask them.
I can't ask.
Ask me.
Whatever it was, 2 years ago, we had this discussion about having children at Brockwood. And
We said no.
We said no.
No, but
We felt there should be a certain kind of atmosphere here.
all right, understood, sir.
Right.
We don't have it
Now,
here.
I get the feeling that at this point now, looking at the situation, you feel it might be a good idea for us to have young children, not too many, going up through the
Perhaps,
age.
I say perhaps.
I'm saying, what's your feeling about it?
I-
Do you think that would be a good idea?
I feel it's a good idea. That doesn't mean you must agree with it, for God's sake.
Can you explain to me why, though? Why
Because it's obvious, sir.
Well, I mean, it's not so obvious because
Perhaps,
there are quite
perhaps you can help them to become different human beings if you start with the very young people. Perhaps. See, you're all do we all agree?
I think so. We don't quite know what it will involve us in.
So that's not the point. First,
That's making
in
us
principle
hesitate,
at
say
least. In principle.
I think in principle,
Yes,
we would
it's-
say yes. Perhaps
All right. If we all agree in principle that's right thing, then what's the next step?
Yes,
Huh?
I think Doris is right. I think we've got to have a feeling that everybody... in
I'm
principle
asking, so what are,
agrees.
don't waste time. We have been here what?
We
40,
can't help being uncertain. We cannot help being uncertain.
No.
We don't know what is right. Part of us rebels about having to get involved with very young children, and part of us sees the need for an organic role, dealing with the young child from cradle to the grave.
But Doris, I mean, partly what Christina's bringing up is, in principle, we can, well, I don't know, that's what the question is, do we agree to help them? And when we look at the practical aspects of it, it may lead us to different considerations when we look at the nitty-gritty. That's not, who knows, perhaps when we look at the practical aspects, it becomes so unfeasible that it would be more practical for them to leave. That might be possible. It's not the question. The question is, in principle, do we agree to help them? Then we'll look at the practicalities and see where that leads us. But we have to first be taking
We're trying to
initial
sort
steps.
them down with all that doubts.
But that's all that's being asked. Is that
But
first
I thought the question was not do we agree to help them, but do you agree to start a nursery
Yes.
school, which is
Yes.
different.
Are we interested in a nursery school? Because
This is
Huh?
same.
no, it is not the same, because if we want to help them, there will always be a burden on us. But if we feel, yes, it's interesting to have 6 young children and we want to work with them, then they just fit in it, and that's very different. And our energy will not be a good deal that we make for them, but something in which we are really interested, because young children can be also very interesting for us.
If you ask the question, would you want to start a nursery school or a kindergarten, even if Harsh and Claire were not here, couldn't you then get a more direct and honest answer to what you felt about having a kindergarten?
That's not the situation.
Well, no, but that's the principle that Krishnaji said. Do you want to start a kindergarten?
No, we want to just for the sake of having.
But why not? Maybe it would be a
Well,
good...
But
that is a question we should look into.
We don't want to start a kindergarten for a kindergarten's sake. We
That
want to
is-
start a kindergarten for the sake of Harsh and Claire and Arnold. And that's very different.
Yes, it is, actually.
But then it will be a reasonable...
Well, that's what we're asking you now.
I mean, the rest of the staff, there may be some that would like child that are be brought up in.
But that's what
And
Brian,
some of us said, that might not happen for at least a couple of years. So it's a question of energy.
but as Brian reminded us just now, we went into that a few years ago and we said, no, this is not the place for that. And everybody who was here agreed to that. And we also said at that point, but we feel responsible for those 2 we already have. Now, 1 left, which in a way created the problem because it would have been much easier to bring up 2. Now we're left with 1. So I think I feel responsible to want to do something about it, but I still haven't changed my mind about not having any more children here. But I do feel concerned for the one we've got. And I feel if anybody else now feels, well, I'd like a child, then they should look at that very seriously, and maybe then it's not the place for them.
We're exactly at the point that we raised when Joe was here, exactly.
What is it?
I say we're back at the same point that when Joe was here, you know, he wanted a separate school and to start.
Would I, if I may interfere with this, what is the right thing to do? Apart from Harsha and their child, what is the right thing to
Well,
do?
it's just an issue apart from Harsh and
What?
Clare, actually.
What?
I don't consider it's an issue apart from
No.
Harsh and Clare.
I'm not sure.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Well, you asked Christian G, we should be able to say what we're thinking.
Beg your pardon?
I say we should say what we're thinking because it's very important.
I'm going to say what I think presently. This question was raised in India. I'm not comparing India to this place, I'm just pointing out. When we started Rishi Valley and Rajghat, we thought of why shouldn't we have young children in the school? We said perhaps they would, as they grow up, they might be different in our growing, in our atmosphere, with our care and so on and so on. And they are not different. They have been cared for, looked after, and when they reach a certain age, they join the gang. That's one thing. And at Brockwood, apparently, you want to restrict it or keep it at a certain level, which is no children. The teacher may be married, but for God's sake, don't have children. Is that it? Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I want to know.
That is what we're saying, yes.
Yes.
No children. But if you have children, what will you do? By mistake. So, taking all this into consideration, what is the right thing to do for all of us? How will you find out what is the right thing to do? For all of us, not for me, and you agree, together what is the right thing to do? In a situation where there is a child, and we must act rightly towards that child. Not keep Harsha or lose Harsha, but act rightly with regard to that child. As a responsible group, what shall we do? Right, sir?
Yes.
What shall we do? Right thing, not my opinion, your opinion, and so battle with each other. Let's find out what's the right thing to do.
It may involve quite a lot of time.
No, I'm not. Please, Miss McCann, you're not answering my question.
Yes, but that would be part of the question for the child.
You're not answering my question. I want to find out what is the right thing to do.
I think the right thing to do is...
Be careful, sir. Not you think. Either it's right or wrong. Don't say, I think it's the right thing to do, and then somebody will say, no, that's not the right thing to do, and keep on battling. That's what we are doing now. So can you find out what is the right thing to do? Not your opinion.
It's fairly clear, Krishnaji, that the young child has needs, and those needs have to be met somehow.
Yeah. Well, that's you
Now,
answer all
one
that.
one can do that here, or one can do that right.
No,
The child.
sir. It involves not only one child, but other children.
Yes.
What other children?
Huh?
You mean the other children who will be coming in? What other children?
Other children You can't educate one child.
So
You must educate him with others, which means at least half a dozen children or more. Now, what is it the right thing to do?
So we find a place.
No. Before you find a place, woman, teach and all, what is the right action that we have to undertake to help this boy?
Well, I think one thing, Krishnaji, is we must all be together. We must all be That's right. We must all be clear about this together.
It is very clear now, sir. Harsha has got a child. He cannot be educated outside in those rotten little schools. I mean, if I had a son, I would strongly object to being sent off to those schools. And he must be educated. It's part of our responsibility. Which means other children. We'll find other children.
Half a dozen.
More, but it doesn't. Other children. Don't say half a dozen or 2 or 3. We must find other children. Now.
Well, Krishnaji, I mean, we don't want too many because.
Don't bother about too many, too little. Leave the number, X number. Right? Do we undertake this, and is it the right thing?
It's not the only alternative for Anand's education. I mean, there is, if we're thinking only of Anand's education, then doesn't OHI exist for the education of young children?
So send him.
OHI is across the world. What good is that going to do?
Send him there.
Well, if we're only looking at the education of Anand, then OHI exists.
So, wait, no, just a minute. Send him there, the boy.
Well, not send him.
What? How will you do? What will you do?
Well, I mean, the whole family could do it.
That means you lose Harsha.
Use the vote.
You're all going round and round and round. 45 minutes, we haven't come to any decision. It's most extraordinary.
Add to that.
Add to the mess.
Are you saying that any other school apart from our schools is a rotten school?
Look, I don't know.
We don't know because I think that...
Maybe marvelous kindergarten school round the corner.
Yes. You're saying that the people that grew up from the beginning to the end joined the gang at the end. So I don't...
That's what has been found, sir, in India. Unfortunately, please, sir, you didn't. When we started those schools in India, we asked whether we should have little children. Because we said if we have little children, we might help them to grow up to be different human beings. And so we did it. And they are just like any other human beings. And Anand and X few numbers may be different. Right? Before we say, what is the right thing to do? You're not answering my question.
Krishnaji, apart from Harsha and Claire, I think it's a quite wrong thing to do.
Why?
Because I think that our intention was not that at all.
What?
It was an adult place, this.
What?
It was an adult place. Into that has come the fact that there is a child of Harsha and Claire, which we have concern about, but not that we're interested in starting a junior school here.
Dorothy says our intention was to start an adult place.
That Brockwood should be for adults, not children.
Then what is an adult?
You're adults from 16 onwards, beginning to be adults.
So you are saying from 16 onwards, nobody should be here?
16 upwards.
Upwards, that's it, upwards.
16
we
downwards,
have said that.
Yes. Is that the right thing to do? Is that what you all want
It's
to
what
do?
we said we were going to do. I'm not interested myself. I haven't the energy or the interest to start a junior school apart from Harsh and Clare. Absolutely no.
What do you mean apart?
Apart from Harsh and Clare, as a junior, that we must consider them, which I certainly want to, but as a junior school, which you're suggesting, like India,
I'm not suggesting
interested.
anything. I'm asking what is the right thing to do.
Well, I'm trying to clarify it, Krishnji.
What you're saying is this wouldn't be an issue if it wasn't for the existing child.
No.
Yes, I think.
But nevertheless, Dorothy, it still means that we will be committing ourselves to a kindergarten and a junior school.
Not a junior school. We would undertake the education of Armand with Claire's and Harsh's help, with about 6 children, and we would move it on as he grew up. And as he grew up, if there were no more children, it would end there. That's what we're saying.
What do you mean when it comes to the age of 8?
No, we would not take each younger ones.
What?
Unless, no.
But when it comes to the age of 8, 9, and so on, what?
Then we get a different sort of teachers to teach them. I mean, people are educated at home. They will take part as they get older in this up to a point. But they will be day children apart from Harsh's child. I'm quite clear myself.
I can't hear sorry, I'm not, I can't hear part.
She's saying that she feels that it shouldn't be a kindergarten and junior school, that this school should be set up just for Anand and his friends. And as they get older, younger ones will not come and take their place. It's just to meet
So
the needs.
what will you do as they go when they are 10?
The same class could be taught 10-year-old subjects and 11-year-old. So that one little
Group, I see, I understand now. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So that little group will continue and not be added to, right? Is that what all your consent, your opinion?
I don't think that will happen. I think there'll be another Exodus, and there'll be...
Yes, Sarah.
That is possible. An accident only within the school staff.
Could I ask Krishnaji, do you feel that having some young ones close by and trying to educate them and bring them up differently, could that be good for Brockwood? And if it could be good, how could we do it in a way that it would be good for Brockwood? And if it wouldn't be good for Brockwood, then perhaps we shouldn't do it at all.
I wouldn't look at it that way. Personally, I may be wrong, but I wouldn't look at it that way. I want to find out for myself what is the right thing to do. I've always, in my life, I'm not asking your life, in my life I've always done that. What is the right thing to do?
You see, Krishnaji, many people are objecting on the grounds that they see that this would have bad repercussions for this place, and that perhaps might be a conclusion.
You have 6 children with Anand to be educated. As they grow older, you don't add any more children and educate. Is that it?
Yes.
And then carry them on.
Yes.
Those 6. No, wait a minute, please. Please just a minute, let me finish. So you don't add any more except those 6. And Brockwood will be responsible for those 6. Right?
If their parents wish them to go on that way.
What?
If their parents, who will be living outside...
Yes. Is that, do we all agree to this?
You don't just agree. You've got to envisage the working out and who's going to do it.
First, madam, first let's
Proceed
be...
with an idea is useless.
Oh, no, it's not. How do you think Brockwood started?
Well, it wasn't an idea.
No, it was not. It was Mrs. Simmons and 2 or 3 others said we must have a school. And they investigated whether it should go be in Holland, France, where was it? Switzerland was out,
Holland, it doesn't work out.
and so on. So I'm just asking, is this, do we all agree to this?
They saw the need for it, and they put in a tremendous amount of energy, and they're still putting more of that energy in today. I don't think the need is seen for a junior school, a kindergarten. The energy isn't apparent in us.
But do you agree that about taking a group and moving them, that group, until they come to Brockwood?
If I was honest, it gives me the hardest idea.
Understanding what is imagined as the difficulty. Supposing there is a building found, never mind how, but we find a building, it's separate physically from Brockwood. There is a teacher, possibly with Claire involved in it. How is this affecting Brockwood? We may never even see the children.
The rest of the staff excluded from that, so far as any children they may form part of them.
I don't think that's the question. I don't know if anybody is dying to have a child.
I think the question was, this isn't the first child, it's the third that has been involved. 1 or 2 had to leave.
Who's the other?
Natasha, Adam, and
Francois, the yoga
teacher.
Harsha might feel, he might feel, both of them, it's not worth bothering about all this crowd. I'm going with my child to India or Ohio, elsewhere. Then what will you do?
very sad.
Huh?
I should be very sad.
Yes, but you will put up with it.
I may have to.
Huh? That is, if they want to leave, because they say this is too undignified, or to get up, for you all to decide what I should do with my child. And I say, sorry, I've listened to all of you, and apparently you are also uncertain about this. I'm leaving there for tomorrow. I'll take you to India or Ohio, somewhere else. What will you do? You will be, as Mrs. Simmons said, she'll be sad. But the fact is leaving. What will you do? Oh, no, that's right. That's here.
No, I personally would feel that I had failed in a responsibility as a human being. I would feel that I had failed in my responsibility towards the three of them. Somehow, fundamentally, I feel also that we would be failing them when failing something else that we are trying to do here, if we deal with it as a problem, an unpleasant problem.
Scott, what will you do if it was your child? Hmm? Huh?
I think.
Sir, just
yes,
listen. What would you do if it was your child? In this, not her, your child. What do you want? Find out. So what is you're not?
I would care. I would care about
right
two things.
Thing to do, sir, in all these questions. Not
Yes, sir.
opinions, not evaluations, not say, well, who have we the money, have we not the money, who is going to do it, who is not going to do it, have we the energy, not, I don't like it, all that. Cut all that out. What is really the right thing to do? It was the right thing to do to start Brockwood. I'm absolutely certain about that. There were a lot of protests. People didn't like it, but we said it's necessary, it's the right thing to do. We have done it. So if we can find out what is the right thing to do, all of us, with regard to this, then we can either say, sorry, Mr. Harsha and Milwan, please, sorry, go somewhere else. And all we might say, please stay, and let's find out what to do. We can't keep on changing all the time.
No, Krishnaji, that's why I began the question about the nature of Brockwood, because perhaps this starting a small thing might actually be good for the nature of Brockwood.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but unless we...
I wouldn't even consider that.
Well, we have to...
If we do the right thing, it'll be good for everything.
Yes, sir.
Krishnaji, if I were Harsha, I would go to the staff, I would talk to them.
Here he's talking to you.
Right, I'd see what is their response. Are they going to be willing to support me?
He's asking you, sir, don't raise that question. Now answer it.
And if I felt they weren't, then I would leave.
The right thing for the child is to have this kind of education from birth. The right thing for the staff is not to be involved in family matters.
But he is involved in family matters. How can we take such a stand?
Well, what you give to him, you've got to give to all.
No, I don't think that's necessarily so.
You
He
don't
has
have
a child and I don't.
Why do you get married?
Sir, have you ever asked about anything what's the right action? Or you're just propelled by your prejudice, your circumstances, this or the other? I'm just asking you, sir.
It's difficult to know even where to begin to look at that
Let's
question.
find out. We're not doing that. We're all offering our opinions. Right? We say it's not convenient because we have not the enough energy. Where will it be? I say that's totally irrelevant. Let's find out for each one of us what is the right thing to do. Apparently, we haven't thought along those lines. Right? Someone says, let's have it. Someone else says, don't have it, and so on. That's what we have been doing for an hour.
I think it would not be the right thing to start a junior nursery and so on. Not because we want to start it, but
Look,
because...
sir, to find out what is the right thing to have a quiet mind for a few minutes. Right? Because you might catch something which may be true. But if we're all the time chattering, what's the right thing to do, you will never find out. Don't go off into kind of dream. I want to know what to do, whether should I marry or not marry. So you see, if I may point out, I hope you don't mind my being a little personal. When this person dissolved the Order of the Star in the East with thousands of land, all kinds of things, there were two parties. Don't do. The people who said, keep it, were very, very influential people. Money, they saw in the future what, etc., could help and so on. Others said, you are talking against all this, therefore your action is to do it. Right? I listened to both of them. And I said, I'm going to find out for myself. I can't, if I do either of, if I do this or that, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. So I said, give me a knife. So I said, right, I'll decide. I decide, not these two. And that was the right thing to do. When I broke with Rajgopal, that was the right thing to do. I had no money. I couldn't go even to the dentist, but it was the right thing to do. Now, if you could get together in that way, it doesn't mean we all shut up. That's what happened now. Look. Perhaps we've not thought along these lines at all. I feel if we decide that altogether the right thing, we'll have energy, we'll come, the right person will come, everything will happen rightly. But we kind of, I don't like it, you like it, and I think this place shouldn't be that, and so on. We just get lost in all this. See, there I was dealing with myself, right? Though I was the head of a great organization with lots of money, property, it was my decision. Here it's collective decision. I don't know if you see the difference. If we don't collectively come to that, then we'll always regret and say, for God's sake, this is useless, and so on, so on, so on. So, your concern in this, what's the right thing to do? Not as a parent, right? If you can disassociate yourself as a parent, look at it. You understand what I'm talking? Yes. Can you? And for each of us, what is the right action in this? Please, what do you say? Huh?
I don't know. I personally don't see that there's such a problem.
Well, no, I'm not talking as a problem. It was not a problem to me when we dissolved the order. When I did great many other things, it was not a problem.
That's rather different than Christian.
Oh?
It seems to me that's something rather different.
No, I explained it was per individual care doing
It was
this.
crystal clear, wasn't it?
What?
It was crystal clear.
She said it was crystal clear
What?
to you to dissolve the Order of the Star.
Absolutely.
Yes, but it's not crystal clear.
I'd say why?
Because we're a group.
Huh?
Because we're a group, we're many people.
Therefore, let's find out. It's a marvelous thing to find out if a group cannot come to right action instead of one person doing it. That would be a marvelous thing. After all, that's what Brockwood means. So you stated at the beginning, what does Brockwood stand for? This is it. To lose our particular personality, particular all the rest of it, and come to something together. I don't see why it can't be done.
Krishnji, just earlier, Mr. Wolf said it would give him the horrors.
No, perhaps he might change his opinion now. Just a minute, sir. Mr. Wolf, just a minute. Mr. Wolf is looking at it from a different angle. I want him to look at it from a totally different point of view. If you will. You see, when I'm in California, there's Miss Lillifeld, Mrs. Zimbalist, three of them, Mr. Hooker, and we meet, we discuss. We're all together in it. Not Lillifeld's two of them separate, because we're all concerned about it. We all put our minds to it, our hearts to it, and say, let's find out what's right. And it takes a few minutes, because it takes a little time to meet, and then we decide. Apparently, it's extraordinarily difficult here. We spent an hour and a quarter about something that can be decided. I don't see if it is particular. I don't see why it couldn't be general. What we were talking about this morning.
Could you explain that, sir?
If I can do it as a separate human being, I don't see why can't all of us do it together, which is general. I'm sure Mr. Wolf and I, if we sat down together and said, look, let's forget, you follow, sir? Just forget. I'll forget. I mean it. I'll forget entirely my personal opinions, judgments, evaluation. You will do the same. Together, let's find out. You understand, sir? Apparently, we can't do it. And that's why we take an hour and a quarter to discuss something like this. And apparently that's what you do at every meeting.
Krishnaji, I think that's reasonable. I think that one must do it in the way one has to do it.
What?
I don't think an hour and a quarter or 10 minutes or 10 hours.
I can't hear this then.
It doesn't seem to be relevant, the hour and a quarter, or that one should be hurried into this. It's a very, very important thing we're deciding.
No, I didn't say about the school. I'm talking about what is the right thing to do about the school, about Brockwood, about anything.
Well, we do, and we managed to agree together very well. Just some things are very difficult, and this is one of them.
No.
Well, it seems so.
I don't admit anything is difficult. Sorry. For myself, I will not admit it's difficult to go to India. I've done this because it's the right thing to do. It's not
It's not clear that it is the right thing
What?
to do. It's not clear that it is the right thing to do.
Because, if I may point out, we're all projecting our own personal like and dislike.
I don't think so necessarily.
I don't think that's true.
Huh?
I don't think that's true.
That's not true?
No.
Then what are you doing? Wait, what are you doing? When you say it's not true, what are you doing?
Well, in this case, I don't think that I have any likes or
Please
dislikes.
ask, what are you doing? Don't say in this case and move off. I'm asking you. Allow me, forgive me. I'm asking her. Do you want to find out what's the right thing to do?
I do.
Now, how will you find out?
Well, I listen to what you have to say.
I say one thing, he'll say another, and your friend will say another, your husband will say something else. What? So, are you gathering information from others and then doing the, or do you yourself say, look, what is the right thing to do? Apart from all opinions.
I'm not even sure what we are talking about when you say what is the right thing to do. What is the right thing to do about what?
About anything. With the state of your mind that says this is the right thing to do. I'm lost, all right.
I'm lost too.
Oh no, I'm not lost.
I don't see how we can be clear, Krishnaji, that when we think something is the right thing, that it's not really coloured by our own personal preference.
No. Look, Miss Porter. To have a mind that's very clear and that knows what's the right thing to do under all circumstances. It is not about this Harsha's son. I'm talking the mind that says this is the right thing to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
The mind. Not about a particular incident or an action to take place.
You're saying that we are not approaching the decision in the right way.
No.
Or you saying
So either there is a right thing or a wrong thing. It's not something in between.
Krishnaji, could we take an example?
No, sir. If you take an example, we'll all discuss the example. But not the mind that says, this is right or wrong, I won't touch it. Perhaps it may be too large a question I'm putting forward, so it probably has no value. But personally, I wouldn't enter into all these discussions.
What would you do, sir?
I haven't even told Mrs. D about it, or Maria, because I know what's the right thing to do. For myself, I don't say it for you.
But sir, if it's the right thing to do, it's not for you or for me, or it's got to be the right thing to do.
Yes.
Now, how is one to see that right thing? Because
no,
we apparently have...
No, I wouldn't put that question. I would put it differently. I'd say, what is the mind that says this is right? That will have no regrets, no problems. Do you follow? Or will you say that's hopeless? Let's get off, that's impractical. So let's go on fussing about the little things. Well, that's what we are doing. No? Do you agree, Mrs. D, when we started Brockwood, that was the right thing to do? Huh? You're saying that now or there? Huh?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I just don't know.
You are in it now.
Yes.
Can we ever say to ourselves that is the right thing to do? About any, not Harsha, don't be in his family. Well, I'm afraid we haven't solved your problem.
Well, Krishnaji, there are times when something does seem like it's absolutely the right thing to do.
Find out about what is the right thing to do about this.
But how does one approach that, sir? Because we apparently don't know.
First of all, sir, there are a group of us here, about 40 of us. I don't know what the correct number, about 30, 40 of us. Can we all meet on the same ground first. Same ground, you understand what I mean? Huh?
That also
Can we do it?
should be talked about.
Can we do it?
Well, what do you mean by the same ground, sir?
On the same concern, same ground, have the same feeling of being together about something. If I want to marry, I must be quite sure she wants to marry me. Hmm? Do we meet together on that? No, of course, that's similar. That's an example. That's why I don't take examples.
But is that a beginning point, sir, or is that somehow an ending point?
Look here, sir. We have lived together here in this building, in this house, for a number of years. We have seen each other, we've talked to each other, so on. Is there a common bond between us all? That I won't leave Brockwood because I disagree with you? Go off and do something else? You understand my question? No? You understand my question, sir?
Somewhat, sir, but the common ground,
No,
this
common
bond. This bond is
together. Look, I cannot leave Mrs. Simmons. You understand? I will not, I can't. I may disagree, I may agree, I may say, look, do this, don't do that, but it's impossible to say I won't come near. I don't know. Are we in that position? Or are we all saying, I may leave? What's up? What are you saying to me? Have I an eye on divorce when I married? A young man came to me some time ago and he said, I'm getting married, but I know I can always divorce. Are we like that? Well, sir.
What you're saying is that we see this situation here.
No, not the situation. I'm not concerned about the situation. I'm not concerned about Harsha and his child. I'm concerned whether we are all together at any time about anything.
Can't we start with one thing?
Huh?
Can't we start with this one thing?
Then that's an example.
The fact that you asked that question, the fact that Brockwood exists in the state it is, shows that we're together on many things.
What?
I think the fact that Brockwood exists in the state that it is, that you come here, suggests that we do work together.
So you have a common bond that none of you are going to leave. Because it's your baby, it's your child, it's your school.
Yes, but one also has to fight for one's child and see if it's brought up in the right way.
I'm not talking about the right way. That comes second step. Do I feel this is my house and I will do anything not to leave?
Because they are saying, this is my home, this is my house, they are voicing their troubles, their difficulties. And they should be.
No, there is no problem, it's my house.
I think there is a problem.
No, darling lady, there is no problem. I'll show you.
Well, there is a problem.
Because it's not our house.
I think that's not fair.
If I have a problem with my wife, thank God I haven't got any. If I have a problem with my wife, it means my wife and I are separate. I refuse to have a problem with my wife. I know I'm going to the extreme, and that's my life. That's where I live. I don't want to have problems. Even with regard to Harsha and his child. Not that I'm indifferent, not that I'm careless, but I'm not going to make this into a problem. Because there's a right action with regard to it. And then when there's right action, there's no problem. What's he, Mr. Wu?
You're the only lucky one amongst us.
And I'm not
You're the only lucky one amongst us.
I am not a...
Because you know what
Please, Miss Pratt, I am not a freak.
you are.
Please, I refuse to accept that. I am not a freak.
Obviously, everybody here wants right action.
Not, you can't want it. You're going off something else. We have never gone into this. If what is right action with regard to everything. To have a mind that says this is right. You won't find out. Look at me, please, not at somebody else. Do you want to find out what's right action? Not about that. Do you?
Yes.
Are you quite sure? Right? What price will you pay for it? Well, lady, what will you do?
I won't pay for it.
Huh?
I won't pay for it.
What?
I won't pay for it.
She won't pay for it.
How you got to pay for it?
Uh-huh.
You've got to pay for it.
I won't pay for
I
it.
wait,
in the terms
wait,
of
let's
the-
understand what I mean by paying for it.
Don't you have to pay for it by giving up your opinions?
Yes.
Giving up.
Giving up a lot of things. Not coin. Would I, if I'm neurotic, give up my neuroticism to find out what is right action? Or I'm really not concerned about right action, but my neuroticism is so marvelous.
Well, if you're that neurotic,
I'm
you probably
I'm
wouldn't
just
know
saying
anything
that.
about
I'm just
right
saying
action
that.
anyway.
You must make a gesture towards it. So what am I to do? You understand my position now? What am I to do? What's up?
If we drop all our opinions.
I don't know, don't tell me. If you say we must drop all our opinions, you haven't dropped them.
No, I said there is only the doing.
All right. This is a problem to you. You have to decide this.
I feel there is the doing which can answer.
That's for you to decide. I'm not coming into this. Sorry, I'm not brutal, I'm not indifferent, I'm not impatient, I'm not angry. I won't enter into arguments of this, that, the other, when I see something that's right. For myself. You understand, sir? When Kay dissolved that order, Dr. Besant, world figure, built up this board, or found an organizer around it. To go against all that, you're playing with words.
It was crystal clear, Christian.
Huh?
It was crystal clear. It was crystal clear.
What?
She says it was crystal clear.
Why isn't it crystal clear to you? Don't ask me.
Because we're caught in our own.
Move out of it.
We don't know where to move, which direction, up, down, round. Or
Move.
there is no movement possible.
Then die. What are you talking to me?
We're talking to you about the difficulty of collectively solving a practical problem.
Not
And
practical.
also we have got the benefit of your...
No, there is no benefit. I'm a freak. Put me out of the window. I'm just...
You're not free because you've got the people in no time
I mean,
resolve things instantly with you.
a man called me, or a, what's it? A genetic freak.
If we could put this question down and put her over Mrs.
I'm not putting this. Please, Miss Pratt, you're going off to something. Yes, I'm sorry.
You said that they are in complete harmony with you.
No, about a particular problem, we all think together and see whether it's the right thing to do. We think together. Therefore, you have lived together here for the last 10 years. Why haven't you solved these problems?
We've solved many problems, but this is a sticky one.
No. See, you're all saying the same thing over and over.
We're all saying it from the same level.
No. Miss Pratt is no good talking to me anymore. You people decide what should be done about this. And tell me. I'm awfully interested how you decide, that's all.
We should just try half and half.
Oh, go to it. That's what you have done all these 10 years, half and half.
Not being very fair.
Oh yes, I'm being very exact. No, it's not a question of being fair.
I'd like to say that the reasons that brought this school into being, I think, would apply to any age of child. But having said that, I think the people who would run that small school should have the temperament for young children. I may not have that, but that would be a separate issue.
Quite right, sir. So carry on.
Well, if we saw that, then it would come into being and we would
but you haven't found out if it is the right thing to do yet. You're still calculating.
I didn't think I would be the right person to be involved.
No, that's not the point, sir. You and I have an issue. How shall we solve it? By arguing about it, your opinion, my opinion, say is this convenient, who will find, you follow? Balancing, weighing and judging and going on indefinitely like that. So what will you do then? You have collected information, you have collected, and you have to act. And you know, if there is action of any regret, looking back and saying, my God, I wish I had done it, if all that must be eliminated.
Sir, for one person to see what is right action concerning something seems to be a question of seeing the thing clearly, of some clarity of perception, which done individually is different than when several people are doing it together.
Yes, sir.
How do people
Look, sir,
look at something clearly together, develop a clarity of perception?
we've all agreed, all of us, not to be Catholics, right?
We didn't agree that together,
No,
sir. We agreed that
we're not.
individually, and we all share that
Yeah,
perception.
that's all.
Now, that's different.
What's different?
Well, we might all agree, we probably agreed before we came here, that we saw that we didn't want to be Catholics.
Finished.
But we came here with that perception, which we all share.
Yeah.
But here we are, all together, already here. We are faced with something that we must have right action towards.
Yes.
Now,
So-
how do we develop that together?
First of all, do we all together look out of the same window?
No.
That's all. Do we all look through that window? Which doesn't mean that we're all obstinate or we're all too...
No, sir. We all look through different windows.
Yes.
Now,
And
how
trying
does
to
our
find
looking?
out, through looking through different windows, trying to find out what's right action.
Yes, sir.
You can't.
Right. So, now, how can we all?
No, wait, you can't. So drop your looking out of your window. That's your gesture. That's your saying, I will do that.
Is that enough to produce looking out of?
Wait, sir. You see, do it. See what happens if you really do it. Then there is no window. Right? And I'm sorry I've not been much help here about your child, sir. It's a problem for all of you to decide. Because all of you have to face it, not me. If, for instance, I'm off and then of next month. So if somebody came to you with a gift, would you refuse it? Gift of land, just a minute slowly, gift of money, gift of himself. Would you refuse it? It's very interesting. I come here, I'm interested. I come to Miss Simmons and say, look, I offer myself. I don't know what I can do. I have no special capacity. I offer myself. How do you receive me? I'm just Mr. Halley. How will you receive me? But this happened in India. Well, a man came to me and said, I'm giving you 100 acres, Bangalore. It's for you, for your work, for you. Will you take it? As a person, don't take anything personally. So I said to the foundation, is this land, will you want it? She said, no, more schools. Right? You mean that man who offers you out of his heart this thing, you refuse it? Go on, sir, take it. Many people come to Mrs. Simmons, she's told me this, and say, I'll come, I want to do everything I can. And we have no room. We have all the people necessary. What do you do with me? Sorry, I'm not putting this blame, you understand, I'm not criticizing, I'm just wondering, what happens to me? Well, Mr. Wood, what am I to do? What will you do with me?
You're the person who's come to the school.
I come, I don't care what, I come.
You want to be
my gift.
Yes.
What do you do with me?
If we're too full,
Yes, you're too full, all the garden is full and school staff. What will you do with me?
Well, the fact that we're too full should be plain to you as it is to us.
What?
The fact that we were full would
So
be
what?
plain.
Yes. So you simply sorry.
Yes.
Buzz off.
Well, gently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Politely with various gloves, but buzz off.
Yes. Well, it's never really a simple case like that because
No, sir. I come. Please, I am that kind of person.
Yes.
I come to offer.
Yes.
You may be batty.
Oh?
You may be totally batty.
I am.
Well, then you have to say so sorry.
That's why you are refusing me.
I don't understand.
I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because if you had, we would
that's
take
what
you
you have
in.
done just now.
Even if we were full, we would take you in if we saw something that we really wanted or were needed in the school.
So,
I don't understand.
I'll explain. You have to find right action, right? With regard to this particular or about anything. The man comes along and says, I'll show it to you. This is your gift. Right? Am I talking nonsense?
No, sir.
Could you just say it again? I haven't followed.
I think, sir, there is right action about everything. And that right action can take place only when I have the mind for it. You understand? You understand, sir?
Yes.
As to build, not build with
Yes.
a child, marry, anything. I must have a certain mind that acts rightly all around.
Yes.
I come along and say, this is your gift, take it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You've got it?
Yes.
So what do you do with the man? What do you do with that gift?
Take the gift.
Huh?
We take the gift.
Huh?
We receive the gift.
Have you?
Yes, I think so.
Have you? You say it so quickly. I'm not being paradoxical, I'm not being mysterious. I said, here it is. Unless you do this, you will be at loggerheads about every problem in this place. Either it's a very dangerous gift, and therefore you should suffer. Keep it to yourself. Or it's a very great jewel, which say, by Jove, I must cherish it, I must look at it, I must watch it, I must wear it, I must look. You follow? This dinner bell.